Dear students, we have discussed Hooke's law. For small deformations, stress was directly proportional to strain, so that the ratio between stress and strain is a constant, and that constant is called as modulus of elasticity. And you know very well that stress is three types: longitudinal, shear, and volume stress. And the corresponding strains also three types. Now the ratios also become three types, and the elastic moduli also become three types. First, already we considered is longitudinal stress. And here longitudinal strain, and the ratio of longitudinal stress divided by longitudinal strain, that was a constant. That constant was given a name Young's modulus. The ratio between longitudinal stress and longitudinal strain is called Young's modulus. And as far as Young's modulus is concerned, we did several problems on this, and we considered experimental determination of Young's modulus also. So the next one we have to consider is shear stress, and here shear strain. See, in case of longitudinal stress, see how you identify longitudinal stress. If the force applied changes its length, that is called longitudinal stress. And longitudinal strain is just defined as change in length by original length. So next, shear stress. Here the stress or the applied force or the deforming force, if it is going to change the shape of a given body, then you say the stress produced is shear stress, and the strain produced is shear strain. So in case of longitudinal strain, there is change in length. Then in case of shear strain, so relative to one face, the opposite face is displaced, and we take the displacement divided by the distance between the two faces. So in that way we have defined the shear strain. Now the ratio between shear stress and shear strain, that is called rigidity modulus. That is called rigidity modulus. In this diagram, it is very clearly given. The longitudinal stress is associated. See, when we say longitudinal stress, the applied force either increases its length or decreases its length. If force applied changes length of a body, then it is called a longitudinal stress. And one more important thing is, the force is applied perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Now let us go for shear stress. In this case, the force applied is changing the shape. It is just changing the shape. It is displacing the upper face relative to the lower face by some distance, and the edge of the body is undergoing some angular displacement. So you can express shear stress as a ratio between displacement and length of the cylinder, or just angle, that's all. Okay. So, and in this case, force is applied parallel to the surface, parallel to the cross-sectional area. Here force is applied perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. here force is applied parallel to the surface area. So that is another difference between these two. Okay, so here in this case longitudinal stress by longitudinal strain is Young's modulus, and here in this case shear stress divided by shear strain, that is rigidity modulus, or that is called rigidity modulus or shear modulus. So now let us consider the shear modulus in detail. So now we are considering second type of stress and strain and their ratio. So shear stress. Shear stress means force by area, and shear strain means displacement of the upper face relative to lower face, that is delta x, divided by length of the cylinder L. Now ratio, shear stress divided by shear strain, that is F by A by delta x by L. So the ratio between shear stress by shear strain is called rigidity modulus. Rigidity modulus or shear modulus. Shear modulus. So rigidity modulus or shear modulus is equal to shear stress by shear strain. So this rigidity, the shear modulus is represented by G. So G is equal to F by A divided by delta x by L, that is F by A into L by delta x. So or sometimes the shear strain is shown as theta, then you write shear stress is F by A and shear strain is theta, then you write F by A into theta. So in both ways you can take expression for shear modulus. Now by solving some problems on this we can understand it very well. And just like Young's modulus, shear modulus value also depends upon material. Different materials have different shear modulus values, and here if you want to know its SI unit, it is very easy. Here see, this is length, this is length, so it gets cancelled, and here force, that is Newton, and here area, meter square. So Newton per meter square. It means shear modulus as well as Young's modulus, both are having same units. In this table you can see the shear modulus values of some materials. See, for aluminium 25 into 10 power 9 Newton per meter square. For brass it is 36 into 10 power 9. For copper it is 42 into 10 power 9. In this way different materials are having different shear modulus values. Now let us solve a problem. That is solved example 10.4. A square lead slab of side 50 centimeters and thickness 10 centimeters is subject to a shearing force on its narrow face. Shearing force is applied on narrow face of 9.0 into 10 power 4 newtons. The lower edge is riveted to the floor. How much will the upper edge be displaced? A square lead means, first let us draw a square. Square means to all sides equal. All sides equal. And each side is 50 centimeters. So 50 centimeters. And off side and thickness 10 centimeters. So this is thickness. This is thickness. See this thickness is 10 centimeters. This is subjected to a shearing force on its narrow face. See, the same diagram is again drawn here. So this is a square part, 50 centimeter, 50 centimeter, and this is 10 centimeters. This is 10 centimeter, and force is applied on the narrow face. The force is applied on narrow face parallel to the surface. So when force is applied, this gets displaced, this gets displaced, this gets displaced. This gets displaced. So here this is the displacement of upper face relative to lower face, and this is the length of the slab. See, the length is 50 centimeters. Displacement, that is how much will the displacement is asked. Displacement is asked. Length is given. Okay, now is subject to a shearing force. Force value given 9.0 into 10 power 4. Force is given 9 into 10 power 4 Newton. Okay, now area, on which area this force is working? On narrow face. So this is the narrow face. So this is the narrow face. This is the narrow face. So its area is required. Area of narrow face. So you need its dimensions. See, dimension means this is 10 centimeter, this is 50 centimeters. Therefore 50 into 10, 500 centimeters square. 500 centimeters square. So this is area. This is area. Now let us write expression for shear modulus. So shear modulus is equal to shear stress divided by shear strain. G is equal to, shear stress is force by area, shear strain is displacement divided by height of the slab. Height of the slab. So in this, what is asked? Delta x is asked. So delta x is equal to FL by AG. Now let us substitute the values. Force 9 into 10 power 4. L value, height of the slab 50 centimeters. So 50 centimeters means this divided by 100. That gives meters. So 0.5. Cross sectional area. So here 500 into centi means 10 power minus 2 whole square, 10 power minus 4. So 500 into 10 power minus 4. G value, see G value, see 10.4. See which material this one? Lead. Here in the table let us see where is the lead. Lead is here, 5.6 into 10 power 9, 5.6. So substituting the values and simplifying, we get the answer. We get the answer, that is 1.6 into 10 power minus 4 meter. Now let us look at 11th problem. A 2 centimeter cube. See, a 2 centimeter cube means, let us draw a cube. This is 2 centimeter cube. Some substance has its upper face displaced by 0.15 centimeters. It means on upper face a force is applied, so that its face is displaced. Its face is displaced, and here this is delta x. Upper face is displaced. Upper face is displaced. Upper face is displaced. By how much displacement is given? See, displacement is how much? Length 0.15 centimeter. That means 0.15 into 10 power minus 2 meter. Afterwards, due to tangential force of 0.3 Newton, see the force value is given. While keeping the lower face fixed, lower face is fixed. Calculate the rigidity modulus of the substance. Rigidity modulus is asked. So rigidity modulus formula, stress by shear stress by shear strain. Shear strain means delta x by L. So F by A into L by delta x. Now see, F is available, L value, see this is L value. This is, so L is 2 centimeters. See, it is a cuboid, so all sides are equal. So L is equal to 2 centimeters, 2 into 10 power minus 2 meter. Okay, F is available, L is available, and delta x is available. Next, A, cross sectional area. Here area means on which area of the tangential force is working. So this tangential force is working on this area. this area. Of course, this is a cube. You take any surface, it will be same. Right. A is equal to, so this is 2 centimeters and this is 2 centimeter. So side into side, A is equal to side square, 2 centimeter into 2 centimeter, and that is 4 centimeter square. 4 centimeter square. Now let me substitute the values. Force 0.3 newtons into length 2 centimeters by area 4 centimeter square, delta x 0.15 centimeter. So centimeter gets cancelled. Now let us look at additional problem 10.6. The edge of an aluminium cube so this is an aluminium cube. Since this is a cube, it has all sides equal and length of each side is 10 centimeters. One face of the cube is firmly fixed to vertical wall. Suppose this side is the wall, so this face is vertically fixed. This is fixed to the wall. This is fixed to wall. That side is fixed to wall. A mass of 100 kg is then attached to the opposite face of the cube. If this face is fixed to wall, to it this will be the opposite face. So on this opposite face, 100 kg weight is applied. So let us take here 50 kg and here 50 kg, both masses attached by a string, and you place the string over the this face nearer to the face. So in this way 100 kg mass is applied on opposite face. The shear modulus, mass is given, no, let us write the data here. Mass 100 kg, therefore the 100 kg mass will produce a shear force. The shear force is parallel to this face. So like this, the force is working vertically downward. F is equal to mg 100 into 9.8. So 980 newtons of tangential force is working on this face. On this face, shear force is working. And now we want the shear force area. Area 10 into 10. That is 100 into 10 power minus 2. Afterwards, what is given? The shear modulus of aluminium is 25 GPa. Shear modulus is given G 25 GPa. GPa means gigapascals. Gigapascal. So far, the units given were Newton per meter square. Here we get a new unit. So already you know very well, force by area is stress as well as pressure, and pressure is measured in pascals. Now about giga. Giga means 10 power 9. So now here you can write 25 into 10 power 9 pascals, or 25 into 10 power 9 Newton per meter square. Now let me write. So what is asked in this? What is the vertical deflection of this face? Because of this load, this face will be displaced downward relative to this face, and the displacement is delta x. That is asked. So writing expression for G, shear stress divided by shear strain, F by A into L by delta x. This gives delta x is equal to FL by AG. So substituting the values, force is 980 newtons, L value 10 centimeters. So L value is taken as perpendicular distance between two faces, two opposite faces. See, this face is displaced relative to this place. This is fixed, this is moved. So what is the perpendicular distance between this face and this face? So this is the perpendicular distance. This is the perpendicular distance between the two faces. Since this is a cube, all sides are equal. This is 10, this is 10, and this also 10. This also 10. So here we write L value 10 centimeter means 10 power minus 2 meter. Area we calculated here. G value given here. Simplifying, you get the displacement. So we got the displacement. Now let us look at the problem once. What is the vertical deflection of this face? See, the deflection in terms of delta x, this is actually displacement. This is displacement. Deflection means angle. Deflection, that is angle. Angle in radians is displacement. The answer you got is displacement of this face relative to this face. No, but in the problem, deflection is asked. Deflection is given in terms of angle in radians. Angle in radians is arc by radius. Arc by radius means delta x by L. Delta x is 39.2 into 10 power minus 6 divided by L. L value 10 centimeters means 10 into 10 to the power of minus 2. Here it is 3.92 into 10 power minus 7 meter. So here 3.92 into 10 power minus 7 divided by L value 10 into 10 power minus 2. So we get deflection in radians. So sorry, it is not visible here. 3.92, so delta x value 3.92 into 10 power minus 7 divided by L, 10 centimeters. So we are getting 3.92 into 10 power minus 6 radians. So if displacement is asked, that is delta x. If deflection is asked, that is the angle in radians. So to change length, longitudinal stress is required. Force must be applied normal to the cross-sectional area. Then only length can be changed. And ratio between longitudinal stress and longitudinal strain was called Young's modulus. Afterwards, coming to this, here you applied force parallel to the surface, here and here, at the top surface and at the bottom surface. The force is applied parallel to the cross-sectional area. Here in case of longitudinal stress, force is applied perpendicular to the cross-sectional area. Here force is applied parallel to the cross-sectional area. This is longitudinal stress, this is shear stress. Shear stress produced shear strain. Shear strain is nothing but displacement of the upper face relative to lower face. The displacement divided by the perpendicular distance between the two faces, that is L, that was defined as shear strain. So the ratio of shear stress and shear strain was called shear modulus or rigidity modulus. So we have completed two moduli. Here Young's modulus, here shear modulus or rigidity modulus. Now we should go for third type of stress. See here, by applying force, the volume of the body is decreased. Force is applied from all sides, therefore this is called hydraulic stress. Usually we keep a body inside a liquid, inside a fluid, and we apply some pressure. Thereby force is exerted on the surface of the body at 90 degrees to the surface. So this stress is called hydraulic stress, and the decrease of volume divided by original volume, and that is called volume strain or hydraulic strain. Now the ratio between hydraulic stress and hydraulic strain, that is called bulk modulus. This is third type of elastic moduli. Now let us consider this type. So hydraulic stress divided by hydraulic strain is called bulk modulus. bulk modulus. See here, Young's modulus is represented by Y, shear modulus or rigidity modulus is represented by G. Similarly, bulk modulus is represented by K. Now you can write K is equal to, here stress means force by area, divided by strain, that is volume strain, that is change in volume by original volume. So that you can write F by A into V by delta V. But here force by area represents pressure, therefore you can write in place of this pressure into volume by change in volume. In this way also you can write. And it's SI units. See here volume, so no units. Here force in Newton, area a meter square, so Newton per meter square, it's SI unit. So in our textbook, bulk modulus is represented by B. Bulk modulus is represented by B. And here in case of volume strain, there is a decrease in volume. When pressure is applied, the volume is getting decreased. So we put minus sign here. And afterwards, we are defining another physical quantity, and that is compressibility. Compressibility is reciprocal of bulk modulus. That means 1 by B is called as K. So in this way we have defined another physical quantity. And as usual, you know, the bulk modulus value is different for different materials, which can be seen from the table given here. See, for aluminium it is 72 into 10 power 9. For brass it is 61, for copper it is 140, for glass it is 37. So these are the solids, and in case of liquids, for water it is 2.2, ethanol 0.9, carbon disulfide 1.56, and glycerin 4.76, mercury 25, and gases also given here. Air at STP, standard temperature and pressure, it is 1 into 10 power minus 4. So in this way bulk moduli for different materials are given. So after this we defined another physical quantity, that is compressibility. So you may ask, why compressibility? Actually this is not elastic moduli. Then why you are defining another physical quantity? See, compressibility is defined as reciprocal of bulk modulus, that is 1 by bulk modulus gives you compressibility. See, the name itself gives you very good physical meaning. Compressibility means how far you can compress a given solid or liquid or gas. So this has a lot of physical meaning, physical significance. Just looking at the bulk modulus value, you won't get a physical idea about the material, but once looking at the compressibility values, you immediately understand how far it is compressible. Let us look at some examples. Now I have taken another column just beside bulk modulus values. See, all these are bulk modulus values. See, 10 power 9 is common for all these. Here aluminium 72 into 10 power 9. So K means what? Compressibility. Compressibility is nothing but 1 by B. So I have taken 1 by this value. I got this much. So in this way, for all these, I have calculated using a calculator. I have calculated the reciprocal values of all these, and I have written here. So these are the compressibility values. Now, first look at the solids. See, within the solids, glass is having larger value. So glass is more compressible than copper or nickel. So glass is more compressible. See, the metals, when you consider metals, see, aluminium and brass, these are more compressible. Copper is less compressible, and iron is very less. Iron, it is very difficult to compress. Compared to iron, copper is less compressible. So in this way, within solids you have compared. Okay. And when you come here, nickel and steel, here only here, see, copper, nickel and steel, these three are having very small compressibilities. It means it is very difficult to compress. It is very difficult to compress. See, naturally they are solids, therefore it is difficult. Now let us go for the liquids. See here, now you compare the solid values, you compare the liquid values with solid values. See, one example here, copper 0.007, but here for water it is 0.454, very much large compressibility. Here also, here 1.111, see here. See, all these are after decimal point only, but here it has crossed the decimal position also. So anyhow, compared to the solids, these liquids are having more compressibility values. So solids are less compressible, liquids are more compressible. But when you go for gases, see here, all these are having into 10 to the power of minus 9, but here it is 1 into 10 to the power of plus 4. Here minus 4, here plus 4. It means what? It is very much, very largely compressible. See here, this gases are more compressible of the three states. So here let us read. The solids are least compressible. Solids are, let me read this. The solids are least compressible, whereas gases are most compressible. Why? Here reason is given. Gases are about 1,000,000 times more compressible than solids. Gases have large compressibilities which vary with pressure and temperature. The incompressibility of the solids is primarily due to the tight coupling between the neighboring atoms. In case of solids, the atoms are tightly, see, there is no empty space between atoms. They are tightly arranged. The distance between atoms is very much less. The molecules in liquids are also bound with their neighbors, but not as strong as in solids. When you go for liquids, the distance between the molecules is a little, see, it is not as much less as here. So that one molecule can roll over another molecule. They are less tightly bonded. These are tightly bonded. These are less tightly bonded. Afterwards, the molecules in gases are very poorly coupled to their neighbors. That's why they can be compressed. The distance between the molecules is very large. Therefore, when you gather the molecules, you can compress the molecules to a small value. In this way the gases are compressible. So the reason is given, I think it is clear to you. In case of solids, the atoms are tightly coupled to each other, therefore they are not compressible, least compressible. When you go for liquids, it is not as tight as solids. The molecules can at least roll one over another. That much flexibility is there. See, you take a solid and you press the surface with pen. The pen cannot penetrate into the solid. Now you can understand how closely the atoms are bonded, tightly bonded. So you take the same stick and you can easily immerse into the water. When you immerse a body into the water, the water molecules just slip to sideways and give you the way. So in this way, the bonding between liquid molecules is a little less, therefore so here the compressibility is more than this. And when you go for gases, you see, of course inside liquid you can't run, but inside a gas, inside an air, you can run as fast as you can, because they are poorly coupled to each other. They easily slip to sideways to give you the way. Therefore their compressibility is they are largely compressible. You can compress air as much as possible.